Hello and welcome to the third episode of Python for Beginners tutorial series. And in this episode, we'll be discussing what variables are, and we'll also take a look at the basic workflow that we're going to follow and how I am going to teach you. Alright guys, so now let us go ahead and launch our Jupyter notebook. So now that our Jupyter notebook has been loaded up, let me go on to my desktop folder, and on desktop folder I have Python tutorials, and in this folder you will see that there is another folder named notebooks. So these are the notebooks that I have prepared that contain a descriptive documentation and that would help you in learning Python. Let me go ahead and open one of these and show you how they look. Alright, so this is the notebook that I'm going to be using for teaching you variables, strings and numbers. I've given some amount of documentation and the details that I'm going to talk about in it, and under these I'll be writing my Python code. There are going to be exercises related and we'll see later on. Alright, so let me go ahead and close this notebook. Come on to my Python tutorials folder and create a new folder here. Let us go ahead and rename it to, let us jump into this folder. And here I'm going to upload the notebook that I'm going to use for this tutorial. I'll go ahead onto the uploads and we are in the notebooks folder, and here I'll select variable strings and numbers Python notebook and I'll open it. I'll upload it and now it is there in tutorial 01 folder. Now the whole point I uploaded this into a separate folder was because these files were unedited, and now we'll go ahead and write some of the code in it. And later I'm going to provide these notebooks in a GitHub repository that I'll link down below. Alright, let us open this notebook. Alright, so let us go ahead and see what variables are. So you can say variables are like the names that you assign to a value. In the previous video, we wrote a line of code that was print hello world. So what this line of code did was it gave us the output hello world. So this thing that you see here was the value that we passed in this function. Let us now say you want to give a name to this value. So at that point comes variables. Let us say you want to name this value as message. So I'll type message equals to the value that I want to store in it, hello world. Let us run the cell. And let us now use this variable to print the same message as of this cell. So I'll write print, and inside this print function, I'll pass message. Okay, so I'll run the cell, and as you can see, we got the same output. Alright, so another point says that a variable holds a value which can be changed at any point. Let us say in this variable message, you want to make some changes. We'll go ahead and make some changes to it. So instead of hello world, let us say hello cat exclamation mark. Let us go ahead and run the cell. We'll move it up a bit and add a new cell and try to print the message. I'll run the cell and it says hello cat. And if I go back to this cell and run the cell, you'll see the value for message has been updated and it says hello cat. Now we'll see how we can assign a value that is already stored in another variable to a variable. Now, for example, let us take a variable a and store 1 in it. Let us run the cell. I'll insert another cell, another 2, because we are going to need more cells here. And let us take another variable b and store 2 in it. And now let us go ahead and print the value of a and also print the value for b. You would see that we got 1 and 2 printed. I'll add another cell, but in this cell, I'll go ahead and make some changes to a. Let us say a equals to b. We'll go ahead and run the cell. I'll insert another cell and I'll again print both the values. When I run the cell, you would see that the value for b remained the same as 2, but the value for a got changed from 1 to 2 as we assigned A the value of B. I hope so. Till this point it would be clear how variables work. Let us now go ahead and do a quick exercise. So in this exercise, we'll be swapping two variables. There is a variable that contains this value first string, and there is another variable B that contains a value saying second string, and we need to swap the values stored in A so that A becomes the second string value and B holds the value as first string. So for that, let us jump back to our dashboard and let us make a new Python 3 notebook. Let us rename it to Now that it has been renamed, let us now give A the value as first string and B as second string and run the cell. Now these values first string and second string are stored in A and B. I would encourage you to take a minute and try to think about the problem on how you can change the value of A from first string to second and B's value from second to first. Now one solution that could come up in your head could be that let us just assign A equals to B and say B equals to A, and that should get our job done. And let us just print A, small a, and print B and run the cell. And you would notice that we got A's value as second string, but the B's value did not change. So what happened was that A was assigned the value of B that was second string when it came to this line of code. And when it came to this line, what happened was B was asked to store the value that was stored in A. So the value that was stored in A at that point was second string. So B was also assigned the value second string. And that is the reason this got printed. Alright, so approaching the problem this way, where we put A equals to B and B equals to A, led us to a wrong solution. So let us go ahead and delete these cells and let us now go ahead and discuss the right solution. I'll insert a cell. So in order to solve this problem in which we have to swap these two values between each other, we'll be going ahead and taking help of a third variable. In this case, we'll be calling it as the temporary variable, which will go ahead and store one of the value either of A or B for further assignment. Now what that means, let me show you. So we'll take a temporary variable temp and assign it the value of A. And now let us assign A the value of B, and then let us now assign the value of temp to B. Let us run the cell and let us go ahead and print A and also print B. I'll run the cell. Again, we got the same problem. You'll be thinking why? So here I would like to add that we did not reassign the values of A and B again to first string and second string. What happened in the last case was that A and B were assigned these values. So we'll need to quickly go ahead and run the first cell. I'll run it and I'll run our logic again and I'll print them. And you'll see that now we have successfully swapped the values between A and B. Now for those of you who did not get the logic, by the way, we use hash symbols to add comments. Comments are used to improve the readability of the code. Alright, so let us go and discuss our logic. So what happened when this line was run, that temp got to keep the value of A. Now when this line ran, A was assigned the value of B. And when the third line ran, B was again given the value of temp, which pointed to the previous value which A held. In this case was A. So we successfully transferred the value of A to B and B's value to A. So that was our logic. Alright guys, so thank you so much This is it for the video, and I'll make sure that I link up these notebooks in the description below. You can go ahead onto the GitHub page and you can get these files downloaded.